Edgar Cayce is regarded as one of America's greatest psychics. Known as the sleeping prophet, he could put himself into a trance and allow different entities to take over his being. The entity would speak through Cayce, giving readings on people's lives, medical advice, and other information. Cayce slept throughout these sessions, and after the entity had left his body and he had awoken, he remembered nothing of what had been said. During the years of 1923 to 1944, Cayce gave around 2,500 readings, and people came to ask for advice on issues relating to their current life. But sometimes these readings would also discuss the subject's experiences in past reincarnations. Several people were given past life readings from the time of Atlantis, and Cayce noted that many who had lived in the Atlantean era were now being reborn in the 20th century. Cayce discussed how some of the people had lived in the last years of Atlantis, which made him wonder if they were reincarnating now, as these times are similar to the times of Atlantis and the stories of its downfall. Since the early 1900s, technology has advanced at a phenomenal rate, and according to Cayce's readings and the myths of Atlantis, from stories by people such as Plato, it was said that Atlantis fell because of its incredible advancement in technology, which had catastrophically fallen into the wrong hands. Cayce often spoke about karma, the law of cause and effect, and how those who were involved in the destruction of Atlantis, helping in its downfall, would have to face the consequences of karma in a future life. Cayce states that the continent of Atlantis had 3 periods of destruction. The first destruction had been a sharp rise in volcanic activity due to the explosive weaponry that the Atlanteans had been using. The second destruction had been huge fires caused by the misuse of their advanced technology. The third was earthquakes and great floods, which finally saw Atlantis sink into the sea. If these current times are a repeat of the last days of Atlantis, can we save our modern world from such self-destruction? How did Cayce describe Atlantis? He said that the land began as one large continent, but the period of the first destruction had broken that continent up into 10 islands. The humans who lived there were divided into 2 factions: the children of the Law of One and the sons of Belial. They were both very different to each other. The children of the Law of One followed a more spiritual path than that of the sons of Belial, who favoured a more materialistic and secular life. The sons of Belial were hedonists who had the attitude that life was all about themselves. One could relate this to the modern world, as people become more divided, with materialism spreading across the globe and religious beliefs weaken, people rejecting spiritual ideals for a life more centered on themselves. Although there are still those who do seek a more divine path, looking to find a higher connection with the universe. Mystery schools and ancient wisdoms are available as the mystical traditions come out from behind closed doors, and there is an awakening of spirituality, with people reconnecting to the old ways. Cayce describes how originally we humans were spiritual beings, but as we came into the density of the material world, humans became obsessed with this lifestyle as they discovered physical pleasures such as sex and food. Those who became addicted to this way of living lost their connection to the divine, wallowing in the excesses of a material lifestyle. These are who became known as the Sons of Belial. Now, why was the technology in Atlantis advancing at such a rapid rate? Cayce explains that in those times, the lands were beset by all types of large wild beasts who were threatening the humans' habitats. Large numbers of animals were invading human areas and ruining the farmland, so the Atlanteans made weapons to destroy these creatures. In the Cayce readings, they are described as explosives. This weaponry was then expanded, but the results of these advanced explosives caused disruptions to the Earth's balance, creating volcanic eruptions and the shifting of tectonic plates. The main technology of Atlantis was crystal power. Cayce describes that it is crystals that fuel the Atlanteans' power grids. The Atlanteans had an advanced understanding of how to use crystal technology, something modern-day scientists and engineers have not yet discovered. The Atlanteans were able to utilize the crystals for universal forces such as electricity and magnetism, giving them an energy source which ran their transport, powered their homes, and had many other applications. One of the most important crystals was the Firestone, also known as the Tuohy Stone. This stone was kept in a specially designed building with a roof that could be rolled back, allowing the crystal to absorb the energies emanating from the planetary bodies and thus create a certain vibrational power that could then be utilized by the community. This Firestone and its energy could be used for beneficial or destructive purposes, and this was a cause of dispute between the rival factions. But it was not just technology that the Atlanteans were divided about. According to Cayce, humans were not the only ones to live on the islands. There was another race, a mixed race of beings who became the servants and workers for the Atlanteans. They were strange to look at, hybrid creatures, a mixture of humans and animals. The Sons of Belial regarded them as things, whereas the children of the Law of One regarded them as individuals with developing souls and consciousness. Whatever they were, they did most of the manual work for the Atlanteans. The children of the Lord of One wanted to free these creatures from their enslavement and have them treated as equals, whereas the Sons of Belial were very much against this. Various members of the Children of the Lord of One called meetings to try and resolve the difficulties, but the Sons of Belial were not willing to compromise. Just like in today's times, with so much technology being used for warfare, when the resources and genius that creates this weaponry could be utilized for more beneficial purposes, the technology that the Atlanteans developed went too far. It was not beneficial to the planet, and that seems to be happening again, with technology advancing at such a rapid rate that its implications are not being fully considered. The Earth's resources are no longer appreciated, but are misused and overexploited. We also see today that many of our scientific leaders do not apply spiritual or moral obligations to their work as they strive to create new ways of living. Edgar Cayce's son, Edgar Evans Cayce, writes, "Here were two individuals with very similar urges and abilities in the electronic and mechanical fields, acquired from an ancient incarnation in Atlantis. Each had choices to make. One moved in a constructive direction, the other, temporarily, in a destructive one. The former found fulfillment and peace, the latter discord, confusion, and unhappiness." Edgar Cayce wondered If those Atlanteans, reliving their lives in the 20th century, would make the same mistake that they made back then? Or will they learn from their mistakes, perhaps raise their level of consciousness and move away from the destructive path, helping to create a new era of enlightenment? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and make sure to like and subscribe.